about. It's kind of hard to sum up 4 years in just a few minutes, but I'll try my best. The biggest point, or not the biggest point, but the first point that I wanted to talk about was how much I have been influenced by Cranbrook. There has not been anything said, any gesture or action made, good or bad, that has not influenced me or my peers in any way. And I think that's a very cool thing to have happen. The next point that I wanted to talk about was that Cranbrook helped me find my passion. Just recently, I put my deposit down to my #1 choice college. I did so with the help of my parents, my mom, and the audience. Thanks, Mom.
You're welcome.
But what I mean by find my passion is that when I came into Cranbrook, I wanted to be a doctor. I didn't really know what kind of doctor, anything really, but I just knew that whatever career I did, I wanted to help somebody. And doctor was pretty much the only career that I could think of that could do that. And I think if you ask any of my friends now, they really could not see me in a doctor's office all the time. That's just not me. But I think between the dress code at Cranbrook and my best friend who just graduated last year, Mo Murray, I found my passion in retail. And in middle school, I was that kid rocking the same pair of unfitted jeans, blue sweatshirt and graphic tee every day. And it wasn't until I came to Cranbrook that I had to go beyond what I was wearing and find clothes that actually matched the dress code here. And so that was kind of the start of finding my passion of my freshman and sophomore year. But it wasn't until junior year when I started to become close to Mo, who anybody who knows her knows that she's just unapologetically her, that I really started to get into fashion, and I was able to venture into other parts of stores to find what I was comfortable in wearing. And I know for the longest time, I didn't have a style, head to toe. I was dressing in things that I didn't feel comfortable with, and my hair, down to that, was not what I was comfortable with. And with Mo, I was able to start to find things that actually fit me. And she did the coolest thing, which was go shopping with me. And she also did the coolest thing of switching barbers so that we could get our haircuts together. That is probably the greatest gift that she could have ever given me. And I'm eternally grateful for her for doing those things for me, because without that, I would not have the courage to come up here, especially now, and dress how I am comfortable dressing, and to wear my hair the way that I want to, and to have the idea that I can make a career out of doing the same for other people. The third thing that I want to point out is that Cranbrook made me grow up. I'm 16 years old, and I'm not turning 17 anytime soon. I've met multiple juniors older than me and multiple sophomores older than me. I'm the youngest kid in my class. And that has been a blessing and a curse. It's been, hard because my junior year, everybody had their license, everybody was driving to school, and I was still getting picked up by my mom, getting dropped off. I had to, still check in to see if I could hang out on a Friday night. And there has been a struggle in finding a balance between acting my age and acting like a senior at Cranbrook, or acting like a junior at Cranbrook at the time, or a sophomore or a freshman. And I think that Cranbrook has made me grow up in the sense that I've gained a lot of independence. Independence not in thinking that I should be doing everything by myself, but independence as in knowing what I should be doing and knowing how to ask for help. Because I know that nothing worth being remembered happens by just one person. And I really have to thank Cranbrook for teaching me how to ask for help, because I really could not have done that, especially being my age. And I know that there have been certain things that have happened over the years that have made me grow up in the sense of, for example, I had to, get myself to school my junior year when my mom had to be at work at, who knows what time in the morning, taking Ubers to school. But I know that can't happen without help. That can't happen without their money to pay for the ride, things like that. My fourth point would be that Cranbrook showed me what healthy and unhealthy relationships look like. It has shown me what it looks like to be completely desired in somebody's company. I want to share the story of the best night at Cranbrook that I have ever experienced, which was probably January of my junior year. I remember texting Mo, telling her that I was hungry, and there was a 100% chance that there was food in the kitchen, but I was way too lazy to make anything, so I just was complaining. And she texted me, and she was like, us and a few of our friends, we're going to go to Sushi Cafe in Birmingham, come join us. I was home alone, so I just kind of took an Uber down there. I met them at Sushi Cafe. We were just kind of fooling around. Afterwards, we went to Kroger. We were just fooling around at Kroger, not for any purpose. Then we went back to the dorms, watched part of a movie, got bored with that, went to Mo's room, just dancing, singing, doing whatever. And the thing is, there was nothing spectacular about that night. There was nothing amazing that happened that just made it the best night of my years at Cranbrook. But what was so amazing about it and what makes it so memorable was that everybody wanted the other person's company. There was not one person in the group that didn't want another person around, and it was just everybody being themselves, and that really shaped my idea of friendship. And I will continue to have that idea of friendship after graduation, and I hope for the rest of my life, because that is what makes me comfortable. And I'm very grateful to have friends that like the people that I spent time with that night, and I hope to stay friends with them after graduation as well. And my last point would be that Cranbrook showed me my worth, and Cranbrook showed me the importance of vulnerability. What I mean by show me my worth is show me the importance of self-acceptance, self-compassion, and self-love. I think that you can't grow without self-acceptance, accepting all the things that have happened in your life that make you who you are. And it wasn't until recently when I started doing that, when I have felt like I have actually loved myself. And that's a pretty amazing thing to feel. And I think that I really had to take a step back and look at what it means to have self-love, because I was confused by how so many times it looks like we love people for the wrong reasons, or we love others, or we say that we love others when we don't really mean it. And I felt like if you could so easily do that to somebody else, how easy is it to say that you love yourself and not actually mean it, or not actually know why, or to love yourself for the wrong reason. So I think that once I started to accept all the things that make me who I am, I was actually able to start seeing a glimpse of real self-love, which is a really cool thing to feel. And along with that comes self-compassion it's easy to accept all the good things that make you who you are, but it's hard to accept all the things that have happened or that I have done that may not have been the best decision. And along with self-acceptance comes self-compassion, to accept that it happened and to analyze the situation and to just simply not make the mistake again, or to not put myself in the position to make those mistakes again. And the last point I wanted to talk about was how important vulnerability is. There have been multiple instances where Cranbrook, or on or off Cranbrook's campus, where vulnerability has been proven to bring people closer together and to bring nothing but love. But I wanted to use this last example because it happened on Friday. In my English class, we've had to throughout this semester, we had to write 2 different memoirs. So we write one maybe the 3rd week of school, and then we wrote one recently, maybe about a month ago. And our assignment now is to choose one of the 2 memoirs, read them to the class, pass out copies to all the students for them to keep, and then they give us the reader feedback, and we edit that one and turn it back in. So the first memoir that I wrote was a story about Mo and I, and then the second memoir that I wrote was my story of me telling my mom that I was gay. And then, and so I was contemplating which of the 2 memoirs I should talk to the class, and I was debating it in my head, and I was like, well, if I do the second one, that's kind of risky. Like, you can't be that vulnerable to the class, and it's going to be a big deal. And then I thought to myself, well, why is it a big deal? It shouldn't be a big deal. It's a part of who I am. So I kind of just did it to contradict myself, and I just chose the second one. And I didn't realize the extent to how personal it really was until 2 people went before me. And I realized how personal my story really was. And so I'm reading my essay to the class, and I remember just not being able to look up. 1, out of partial nervousness, and 2, because I didn't want to mess up the story. And I remember when I did look up, I got just a ton of applause. It was the biggest amount of applause and the loudest amount of applause I've ever received in my entire life, and that felt great. And not only did I get positive feedback for the way I wrote the memoir as a story, but I also got a great amount of feedback for them just kind of acknowledging the courage that it took to read it to the class. And the biggest thing that happened was school got out at 2:55, and I remember receiving this text at 3:40. It was from a girl who isn't necessarily my friend. We're more of acquaintances. I know her because she was in, my wilderness group sophomore year. But besides that, we haven't, said anything more than a, hey, how you doing, and passing in class. But she texts me and she says, first of all, I just want to acknowledge how great your memoir was written. But the second thing was, she said, I just have an abundance of respect for you and your courage to read that to the class. And I just want you to know that you have influenced me more than you could ever know. And I think that was the best thing anybody could have said to me, because it just gave me more courage to keep being vulnerable, because all it does is get me love and respect, and I want to do the same thing back. So I'm very appreciative of her saying that, and I'm very glad that by just reading something, I could influence somebody else's life. So yeah, that's what I've learned over my 4 years at Cranbrook. I'm very grateful for all the things that I have learned and all the experiences that I've been a part of, and all the people that have been a part of my 4 years here too. Thank you.